Welcome to episode 9 of If You Can, I Can, dedicated to all the inspiring islanders out there. Today, I am sitting down with an island resident of whom many of you will recognize. He has a PhD in environmental policy from West Virginia. He's a retailer, a sporting event producer, advocate, great supporter of the community, competitor, and his energy is absolutely contagious the minute you're around him. Welcome, Alfred Olivetti.
Thank you, Kim. It's a joy to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're here. I know we don't really know each other, but you were so highly recommended to me by a number of people. And then a couple of people I was telling I was going to be sitting down with you that know you or have run with you. We're super excited that you were doing this.
Well, thank you. Again, I'm excited to be here, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for the invitation.
Well, we're going to have fun.
We are.
So I wanted to start off, as I always kind of ask every guest, what brought you to Hilton Head initially?
Oh, well, I'm from South Carolina. I was raised in Surfside Beach, 3 hours north of here on the coast.
Okay.
South Carolina is home. It feels like home. The people, the climate, the mud, everything about it, the water, the salt water. So I was living in West Virginia, as you alluded to, and I defended my dissertation and my doctorate program, had my car packed, and I knew I just wanted to come back to South Carolina. So I moved to Hilton Head because I had a brother living here, and he was gracious enough to offer me his garage to live in. So I moved into his garage, and I just started looking for work, and that's what happened. And I stayed here. It was 21 years ago.
Yeah. Well, so you went off to college and pursued environmental policy. What made you choose that, so to speak? Was that from growing up on the coast?
Yes. Yeah. I had a great passion for it. Going through college, I was introduced to environmental issues and problems around the world, and who at the age of, 19, 20, if you're not crazy about the environment, everything about it was driving me crazy. It was just an issue that no one was dealing with. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I got really involved with it, and one thing led to another. Now I'm studying it very, strictly for my, master's and then my PhD. And one thing led to another, and I thought I was just going to stay in that world and stay in academia. And I wanted the whole world to address the environmental issues that we were dealing with. So I just dove into it, and I was in the deep end, and I was loving it. So It was a passion that just absorbed me, consumed me. So when you moved to Hilton Head, did you kind of pursue that, or? No, unfortunately not. About 2 years into my doctorate program, I was with the Morgantown Running Club, and just running. And I fell into a group of triathletes that were part of that. And then I was introduced to that sport, and then that sport consumed me. And then while I was continuing and I finished my PhD program, I was really living for triathlon. I just loved it, everything about it. It made me 100%. It filled me up inside and out. So everything, I was living for the weekend, as they say, and I was racing and competing and training and doing everything I could. And I got really good at it, but I never got great at it. I was just above average, right? So, but when I moved to South Carolina, although I still looked for work in academia, but couldn't find it. The only work I could find were in little towns in Georgia and South Carolina at little small colleges. And I had just left Morgantown, West Virginia, which ain't the biggest metropolis there is. So I knew I didn't want to go back to a small town environment. Right. So I stayed here, and I found a little bit of work to tide me over. And then I just knew that the sport of triathlon had such a huge impact on me and influence on me, that I want to share that with everyone else. And the only way I knew to do that was to open up a business that gave people the opportunity to get involved with the sport. Yeah. That's what I did. Opened up Go Try Sports.
And so one of the things I'm hearing about you in all of that is that whatever it is you're doing, you're all in, like 100% in.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. So Go Try Sports was founded, what year was that?
April 2000.
April of 2000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you are a super supportive person of the youth athletics and in our community. What's your why behind that, and how does that fill you up by doing that?
Well, the sport of triathlon has done so much for me, for my character, for me as a person. It's given me a shit ton of confidence and self-worth, and not only physically but mentally, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but is that by, you're setting goals constantly, and then as you reach each goal, you gain a little more confidence? And it is. Yeah. It's the process and the journey of becoming that athlete, and in training. The actual race and the results are just the icing on the cake. What I truly enjoy is the process of getting there, and you get those small little rewards along the way, and those add up to a lot. And again, it has such a huge impact on me. And I know I'm just an average guy, and I knew if I was impacted like that, it's got to impact everyone else like that. Yeah. And if it gave me a little bit of self-worth, it's got to give youngins a lot of self-worth. And in this day and age, and any day and age, really. Anytime you can offer a child a chance to get some self-confidence or some self-esteem, it's a no-brainer.
100%.
100%. And that's all they need is a chance. And, and a lot of people, triathlon is still kind of a rogue sport, although it's now an Olympic sport and it's more mainstream. But back in 2000, it was still very, very on the outside. It wasn't an Olympic sport yet, and not a lot of people have heard of it. Yeah. So introducing young kids to that and giving them the opportunity and just seeing a smile on their faces and having fun, but all of a sudden accomplishing something they never dreamed they could accomplish. Shit, man, that was all I needed.
Have you seen any of those kids that perhaps maybe never thought, they could do something athletic like that or anything, go on to pursue that, through high school and college? Or
hell yeah. I tell people all the time, for Hilton Head Island being a small per capita or a small island from population standpoint, I take that Pepsi challenge with any city of any size with the quality of athletes here. And I don't know if that's just because of the island mentality or that we can train year round or what it is. But to answer your question specifically, I just use Jack Felix as an example. Yeah. If you've heard of him. Jack Felix was young, and I know him since he was in elementary school. And I have pictures of him doing all those beach triathlons as a youngin' with his dad. And he got out of high school, ran track and field for Tennessee and Clemson, and then became a professional triathlete, traveled the world racing triathlon.
That's amazing. It all started, running on the beach.
It all started right here on Hilton Head Island. Yeah, running on the beach with his dad and just doing stuff that his dad loved and he loved. And he had such a great life experience with that. Yeah. Now he's back on the island, working, and now he's coaching the high school track.
I did hear that. That's super cool.
It's super cool, right? Full circle. Yeah. He's giving back, and he's probably going to, it's going to be an awesome member of our community.
That's very cool. So curious, what has been your biggest roadblock in life, and how did you get through that? How has that roadblock that you've worked through helped you lead others going forward?
Oh, Kim, that's a great question. Roadblocks come in all shapes and sizes. I think the biggest roadblock, honestly, is me. I've got a lot of insecurities.
Isn't that true of all of us, though?
I've failed a lot. I've got a lot of, bad qualities that get in my way, and overcoming them is probably the biggest challenge, honestly. And once you learn to overcome them, which is probably the biggest game changer in my life, is how to overcome those things that limit you and hold you back. So,
in doing that though, like what has led you, what has been helpful to you in doing that? Is it books, podcasts, people you run with?
Kim, I tell you, it's fortunately, I've gone through this, right? So I can speak very clearly and plainly about this. It's simple, right? It's about living a valued life, right? So the best thing for me that I've done has been to write down my values, right? A list of 3 or 5 things, the most important things to me. Yeah. And then I simply just filter every decision I make through those values. And either if they align, then it's a yes. If they don't align, it's an easy no. And it's not complicated. And it has been wonders for me, eliminating people who are negative in my life, eliminating opportunities that I used to take or entertain taking that were never fun, never enjoyable, never valuable to me. But I do them out of fear usually, right. Or I do them for some false sense that I had to do them. Now I don't, and it's been the biggest change in my life. So it's been great for me, both in every aspect, personally, as a father, in a business sense, as a husband. It's been the best thing I've done.
That's amazing.
And the good thing about it is that your values are your values. They're not arguable. I can't tell you your values are right or wrong. You can't tell me mine are right or wrong. So you just write down your 3 or 5 values. And when I tell people, say if you came to me with a business opportunity or something, and I would say, that's a great idea. It's a great opportunity, but I'm gonna have to back out of it right now. It's not right for me. No one pushes back on that. And if they push, you just give them a reason why and say, well, this doesn't fit up with my value here. And then it's very clear to them. Right. It's like, oh, can't argue that.
Right.
And they move on.
Right. Exactly.
It makes it easy.
And so that's really cool how you have taken your own personal obstacles and turned them really into opportunities for you for a better life and a happier life and more fulfilled life, which is really, really cool.
Well, thank you.
Tell me what habit, practice, or intention outside of what you just kind of talked about has been really a game changer for you, like total game changer. Is it diet? Is it...
diet goes hand in hand with what I do for a living and what I do for joy and what brings, happiness to me. You have to have a pretty good nutritional plan if you want to be any kind of competitive in what I do in sport. I think it's more of just diving into the process of getting where I want to go and writing down small short-term goals and achieving them. And then, when you tell someone to run through the forest, they're going to look at the forest and they're going to see a bunch of trees and they're going to say, no way I can get through that forest. But if you tell them just to get to that tree and you worry about the next tree the next time and then set them up on winning these small battles every day, and then they turn around, they've got to the other side of the forest. They don't know how they got there, but they know they got there.
Yeah.
And it's one tree at a time, that kind of thing, right?
That's so true.
It's so true, right? So I think for me, that's helped me a lot. So I don't look at these big things. I have goals. Of course, I have goals, both every part of my life, personal and business and everything.
Right.
But I don't look at the 5-year goals every day. I look at that day's goal.
Yes.
Because I know if the process will lead me to results.
Right. Right. And I think that's where some people miss out, or lose out, so to speak, because they think, they think about these big goals that they have and they think, they don't know how to short term them, break them down into little goals and just
the fear gets them.
Yeah.
It shuts it down right away.
Yeah. And it's even so I read this book, Atomic Habits. Have you ever read that by James Clear?
I haven't read it. I've heard of it.
Phenomenal. I highly recommend it. But one of the things it talks about is just that habits and how even if you are a list maker, often we get lost in our lists. And so it's like you have to assign a time to each task and you only give, you give yourself X amount of time for each task on your list. And it's amazing how much more you get done.
Yeah.
And how much more satisfied you feel, at the end of all of it.
And again, that list goes back to your values. You're going to write down, the list only encompasses what your values are.
Yeah.
So you're not going to fill it full of fluff and bullshit that doesn't line up with your values.
Right.
So it's a simple list.
Yeah.
And you're going to do it because it's important to you. You're probably not going to do it because it's not important to you. It might be important to you, but it's not important to me. So I'm not going to do it. It's going to be at the back burner. It's not going to be in the front burner.
Right. Absolutely. So, yeah. Absolutely. So you are someone who, and you can just tell kind of by your personality and talking to you, but someone who gets real joy from encouraging others and bringing out the best in other people. Who are 2 people that move and inspire you that have been, had a big impact on you?
Oh, wow. I've had a very fortunate life. I've had great parents. I've had a great set of friends I'm very close with since kindergarten. I married a woman who's phenomenal, way married up. She has to be at the top of the list. So my wife is hugely important in my life.
Yes.
She shows me again every day. She has done remarkable things for this community. And she's very understated and she likes to fly undercover and she doesn't look for any glory. She's a true cleaner.
Yeah.
Right. She just does what she does. And she's remarkable at it. That's such a hard question. You get so many people.
I know.
I would, my brother-in-law is an amazing person. Mm-hmm. I would just draw upon him how to live fearlessly and never let fear get in your way. Mm-hmm. And
that's hard.
It's the biggest limiter in our lives is on our shoulders.
Right.
Our brain is always trying to keep us safe. Mm-hmm. And you got to figure out a way to get over that because that's going to get you and keep you average.
Right.
So you have to get past that.
Yeah. It's like you always have to remind yourself, fear is a liar, fear is a liar, fear is a liar.
Yes.
And get over those hurdles. So you put on a lot of sporting events, running and triathlon and all those types of things. And you have one coming up. So I wanted you to just talk about that really fast. That's over on Daufuskie.
Thank you. Yeah, it's on Daufuskie. It's called the Scrap Iron 5K. So if anyone's ever been to Daufuskie, and more specifically been to Freeport Marina where the old Daufuskie Crab Company is, they have a signature drink called the Scrap Iron. So when we were over there scoping the course and scoping the great venue that we're going to use, we decided to roll that drink into the name of the race. So it's called the Scrap Iron 5K. It's not a drinking event. It's a 5K run walk.
Okay.
You do get a drink at the end if you so choose, or you can have a soda pop. But anyway, the event's really, it's awesome. It's on Daufuskie Island, which is, you've probably been there. It's like a world away. You know, all your worries leave. It's like being on a remote, a venue. It's amazing, relaxing over there. It all starts when you get on the boat over there. So we're going to shuttle you over there on a boat. You're going to see dolphin and flora and birds and everything. You have a great boat ride over there. They're going to drop you off. You're going to run a 5K, walk a 5K, have fun with your friends. And then the post race is going to be at the old Daufuskie Crab Company, where they're going to have live music right on the river. And, it's some of the best seafood in the low country is going to be served up. And then we're going to boat you back to Hilton Head.
Sounds like an awesome event to me.
Yeah, we're excited about it. It's the first one we're doing, right? And we haven't done one over there before. I've run a lot over there, but I never produced an event over there. So we're working with Island Head for the transportation to get over there. And we're working with Wick Scurry and the old Daufuskie Crab Company in Freeport Marina to host the event. And it's gonna be a shit kicking good time.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. What's the biggest challenge with putting on events like this? I mean, what's the hardest part?
Well, this particular one, it's just the logistics of it all, being on a whole nother island. So you got to bring my team and my equipment and stuff like that. But every event has its own hurdles. I don't care if it's on Hilton Head. I don't care if it's a kids triathlon, if it's a beach triathlon, if it's a regular 5K that we do at Palmetto Dunes, or if it's like a half marathon we just did on the South and North Forest Beach. Everything's got hurdles, but everyone, for the most part, with the right team, we're all working together to overcome them. So, I would, nothing that's a deal breaker. You know, everything can be worked out.
What's the greatest reward?
Really just seeing all the people accomplish what they've been training to achieve that day. And that doesn't necessarily mean a personal record. We have, everything from cancer survivors finishing a race for the first time since they've been diagnosed with cancer to, amputees showing up and doing, I had a brother and had two brothers, one pushing his brother who had MS at my last half marathon. So he was wheelchair bound since he's a kid, but the guy travels the world just pushing his brother in races. And just seeing stuff like that, it's great. So I'm really just seeing the self-worth and confidence that people get from achieving, any result they're out there.
Right. They're out there giving it their all.
Yeah.
So I read a great quote that said, trying doesn't bring change, training does. The word trying actually doesn't command a commitment, but training suggests commitment for a change result. And I thought that just spoke to me on a lot of different levels. But I was just curious if you kind of agree with that thought process, and how, for example, have you been successful taking somebody who's never run and turn them into maybe a competitor?
Well, that quote's pretty true. Trying doesn't mean shit. Trying lets you.
I've almost eliminated it now from my vocabulary. I'm like, okay.
Well, listen, motivation too. Listen, motivation is not your friend. When it's cold outside, motivation will let you go back and spoon your pillow.
Right.
You're not going to get outside when you're motivated, right? Pain makes you change. So when you're sick and tired and it's painful enough to be where you are, and training or going after your goals is less pain than where you are, that's when you're going to change.
So true.
So you got to have that's the only thing that's going to move you, right? It's the only thing that's sustainably
desire.
Yeah. It's just, you have to be in pain. Pain forces you to move. Discomfort makes you. Pastors say pain forces you to change. Discomfort makes you move. And that's so good. What has enabled people to start that process is what we talked about, and just showing them that they don't have to run a 5K. They can just go move. You have to find your drive. And normally it's pain. Yep. I don't care if you're just overweight and you can't have a relationship with somebody you want to have a relationship. You can't squat down to pick up your kid. You can't, everything sucks. You pee in blood and anything. You got to have some type of pain to make you move. It doesn't have to be athletic. It could be in business. It could be anything, but you got to be shit on so much that you're tired of being shit on. You're just tired of whatever it is you're dealing with, so you actually do something. Tired of the bullshit, man. You just got to fucking change. Yeah. It's so true. So you got to show people those small little steps. You got to show them that you don't have to necessarily become the CEO tomorrow, but you can do these small behavioral changes. Make this your habits instead of the other shit you were doing. Don't eat a bag of potato chips and pizza at 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
Make small little behavior changes that you can do, and then see how that works for a week. And then, hey, guess what? You feel a little better, right? Yeah, I feel a little better. All right, so let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know, you just accomplished a huge goal. Guess
Yeah.
what? You lost 5 pounds. You didn't do anything other than quit putting crap in your body for 1 hour of one day.
Yeah. And take a moment to acknowledge the fact that you reached that goal, and then let it give you more confidence and ability to
It's
conquer the
confidence
next.
builder. Yeah, that's what it is.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
You don't need to celebrate it though. You just freaking move on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean,
Yeah.
acknowledge it. Like, you don't have to celebrate it, but just, okay,
Yeah,
I did that.
You
now I can do
self-acknowledge it.
this.
It's right.
Yes.
It gives you a whole lot of self-esteem.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
make you feel good about taking on the next challenge.
Yeah. What is your dream event? Like, dream event that you could host here? Here or anywhere really, but I'm just curious.
Oh man. I would say out loud, publicly state, I want to have like the biggest running race on the island. I want to own that one day and produce it. I don't right now. That's a goal of mine. What that looks like, I'm not 100% sure. So if there's any big time sponsors out there who want to have their name behind a huge running event, masses of people, let me know. But I'm doing everything I love to do. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I like doing bigger and better things because, just reach more people.
Right.
But I also like the quaint things I'm doing, like on Daufuskie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just a lot of fun. And that again, that aligns with my values.
Right.
So, other than that, I don't have anything that comes to mind. I'm really doing what I like to do.
That's amazing. That's what a great place in life to be, where you're just loving everything you're doing, and that you just want that for everybody, I mean, just for everyone to get to a point in life where you're doing what you want to do and you're happy and content. So the one question I always ask everybody at the end is, what advice would you give to someone whose life was going about seamlessly and it just suddenly took a hard left?
Well, one, I'd be very sympathetic, man. I'd tell them that they're not alone. I would try to console them, but for a little bit, you don't want to drown in the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, you got to start swimming.
Right.
I would tell them to write down their values, what's important to them, and that will eliminate a lot of the bullshit distractions that are going to get in your way, and let you focus on what you really want to get done, and probably get there a hell of a lot faster than if you don't write them down, and then live by them. And then really just remember that you're not alone. You have a lot of people around you that if you just speak up, the world collides behind you. Yeah. It's like swimming downstream instead of upstream, but you just got to raise your hand. And then it's funny how the energy in the universe works. Yeah. But it sees your hand go up, and it just starts, the wind gets behind your back.
It's so true. And, at the end of the day, we all experience difficult times in our lives. And it's good to maybe let other people know, because you can really find support out there.
A lot of support.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on today. And you
yay.
Get to join the club and have a little bracelet. If you can, I can.
Thank you.
No, I'm so thrilled that you were able to join us today. And I actually can't wait to go back and listen to this recording. And I'm going to be taking notes, because some of the things that you said today, I think, are really, really great, and some just fabulous takeaways for our listeners. So I really do appreciate that. I wish you all the best, and I hope the scrap iron is fabulous, and
thank you, Kim.
Hope to see you out there.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. Really enjoyed to be here.
So thank you all for joining. And if you would like to recommend anybody to be a guest on If You Can, I Can, please text or call me at 843-368-1300. And I just wish you all the best, and go out there and win your day. And remember, if you can, I can.